Small businesses are an integral part of the Dublin community, from the jobs that they provide residents to the essential services and amenities that they provide our community. Now, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and I should mention we're in the 7th week of the pandemic and of the shutdown, I know it's hard on everybody. It's especially hard on our small businesses. Many of our small businesses have had to close their doors temporarily and pivot their business model to address the shelter-in-place restrictions. Today, we're going to hear from Dublin-based businesses on just how they were able to pivot, make necessary changes, and open for business, and stay open for business, and be operational during these difficult times. Let's call it the coronavirus COVID pivot, and they've done it very successfully. We'll hear how they use social media, online tools, and others to help prepare them for the changes and the lessons that they've learned. And they're so generous with their time and their expertise. They're going to share with us just how they've done this. We also are here with the president of the Dublin Chamber of Commerce, the president and CEO, Inge Houston. And I'd like to thank the Dublin Chamber for being a part of this and welcome Ms. Houston to say a few words on behalf of the Dublin Chamber of Commerce. Inge?
Hey, good afternoon, and thank you, Mayor Haubert, for this opportunity to share what the Dublin Chamber of Commerce has been doing. I am Inge Houston, President and CEO of the Dublin Chamber of Commerce, and I'm excited to participate in this webinar where Dublin businesses get to share their successes and challenges as we learn our new normal for business and try to pivot our business models to fit the shelter-in-place orders and serve our customers. I applaud today's guest speakers with their incredible creativity and bravery to make adjustments. We all can learn something from their challenges and successes. The Dublin Chamber's mission is to enhance community in the City of Dublin by creating a strong local economy. We communicate by promoting commerce in Dublin and the Tri-Valley, ensuring a healthy, viable business community. We're the information hub for and of the Dublin business, and we keep businesses informed. We collaborate to grow business. It's not what you know, but it's who you know. And building relationships is the best practice, and the Dublin Chamber of Commerce offers networking opportunities for that. But we'll be changing our little business model, so I'll be learning today as well from our businesses to figure out how to implement that. We are also the voice of business, and we advocate for business-friendly legislation and policies, from outlining issues to show how it affects businesses to placing Dublin businesses in front of community leaders and officials. The shelter-in-place has affected a lot of businesses with closures, and many essential businesses are open but have a new way of doing business in order to assure employee and customer safety. Therefore, my work has mainly focused on communication and advocacy. I do have some chamber news. The chamber's been extremely busy over and above our communications and advocacy work. About 2 weeks ago, we launched a new website with new features and enhancements benefiting our member businesses with greater visibility and access to services. We're featuring our member businesses that are open, offering takeout, curbside, or delivery services, as well as we're compiling a list of our members that are selling gift cards. So if you want to be on those lists, give me a call today for that. Our most exciting news is we're moving up. We have a new location. Many of you know where the Tri-Valley Career Center is located off Village Parkway. They will be moving as a part of a Chabot-Las Positas College District consolidation of services to a new location in Pleasanton. And depending on their tenant improvements, the Dublin Chamber will be moving to their current location at 6300 Village Parkway, Suite 100. In an effort for a smooth transition, the Dublin Chamber of Commerce will temporarily house upstairs at 6300 Village Parkway and Suite 200 until the Chabot-Las Positas transition takes place. The new offices will offer greater visibility, utility, and than we have ever had before to offer our membership. There'll be conference space and multi-use space, which will allow us to expand offerings to the membership, complete with a first floor storefront location with lots of parking. The Chamber is working to make sure no business is left behind. We are helping Dublin businesses navigate this crisis, and we're here to help connect you to the right people. So don't hesitate to call me. My number is 925-828-6200, and my website is dublinchamberofcommerce.org. The Chamber is busy serving our members this year during COVID-19 and is planning for a bright future. We will all succeed together. Thank you, Mayor Haubert, for this opportunity today.
Inge, thank you again for joining us, and great, exciting news. Thank you for sharing. Now, I'm very pleased and honored to introduce our City of Dublin Economic Development Director, Hazel Weatherford. Without her and her team, none of this happens. She makes it all happen, and she's doing a great job. She will introduce our panelists, and then we're going to go around the room discussion style with some great questions. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it over now to the City of Dublin Economic Development Director, Hazel Weatherford. Take it away, Hazel.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me just share my screen here. I have the pleasure of announcing our panelists today. We have John Samples with Inc. 82 Brewing, Ron Kodl, Ron, Shapes Fitness for Women, Nikki Pham with Boba Bliss, and Patricia Cornet with Vagaro. Before we get started, I just wanted to mention briefly that the Office of Economic Development has created a website, a business resource guide, weekly electronic newsletters, and much more, which we will be sharing in an email with a recording of today's webinar with you, with all the participants later on this week. We are here to help support our businesses during these difficult times, and we're looking forward to hearing from our businesses today. Now I'd like to introduce Suzanne Erla, who is on the Economic Development team and who will be helping with the moderation of today's panel. Suzanne?
Thank you very much, Hazel, and good afternoon to everyone. For the folks attending, if you do have any questions for the city, the chamber, or our panelists, feel free to use the Q&A module within the Zoom meeting. I'm very pleased this afternoon to have so many great Dublin businesses that we're able to highlight and have them here to share their stories. And actually, the first business we'd like to hear from this afternoon would be Inc. 82 Brewing. So John, if you don't mind starting us off, if you could introduce yourself and tell everyone about Inc. 82 Brewing and then how you are meeting the challenges of COVID-19.
Hi everyone, my name is John Samples. I own Inc. 82 Brewing on the west side of Dublin. We're a restaurant and microbrewery. Pretty much when we heard the news that we had to close, me and all my staff were devastated. Only doing takeout, I wasn't really able to retain all the employees, so I did have to let go 3/4 of the staff. About a week or two into that situation, we realized that we needed to do something, think of something to get people back in there working, pretty much change our business model. So called our web guy. I said, hey, I want to start selling groceries and other like miscellaneous products out of the back brewery. What can you do for us? And he's like, okay, we'll set up a site. We'll do some online ordering. So at first, seems easy enough. It took probably 3-4 days to figure that out. Once that was up and running, we bought about 20 products, added them to the store. A lot of the products that you can't find in regular grocery stores, we were getting from our food vendor, like yeast, flour, toilet paper, paper towels. We saw a demand for those, and then week after week, we would just keep adding more and more products to the store. I think as of today, we probably have around a little over 100 products. Now we sell essential supplies, food, liquor, beer, everything out of that store. Completely contactless. You go online on the website, place an order, you drive up into the back, open your trunk, give us your order number, and load you up, and you're on your way. So that's pretty much how we converted to being a restaurant to adapting during COVID to now we do groceries.
Well, that's
And
a great
John,
story, John. Thanks for sharing.
And John, what was the role in your social media accounts?
So we did blast it all over Instagram. We have a good following on Instagram. I blasted it all through our, I don't know if there's a neighborhood website called Nextdoor. I put ads on there. I blasted it through there. Everyone I knew also did that same thing. So in their neighborhoods, they put it on their next door. Next thing you know, word of mouth got out. We had the news over there that put it on the news, telling the story. So it just kept spreading and spreading pretty much to get the word out. But yes, social media has been very, very good.
That's great. And have you been able to bring back any of the employees that you originally had to let go or reduce hours?
Yes, most of them.
Right.
So they don't work as many hours because we're not open all day anymore. But yes, at least 90% of my staff is back to work.
Okay. Excellent. Great. Anything else you wanted to add, John?
Good question.
John, this is Hazel. Are you still selling alcohol? Are you able to still continue selling beer and any other liqueur you may have?
Yes. So the ABC lacks the laws. We're actually delivering alcohol and beer either day or Saturday. So yes, we offer everything that we sell in-house. We're going to start doing a delivery, and it is to go.
Hey, John, from the time somebody orders online and pays online, so it's contactless, they come to your store, how long do they have to wait, or do you give them a notice that their order's ready? And can they pick up that same day? Do they have to schedule ahead of time? And then if they do come in, are they able to get a to-go meal that maybe you have a regular menu type item, a cooked prepared meal that they can take to go with them, or have you completely pivoted away from that?
So we still do to go. We split the restaurant and then the grocery as two separate businesses right now. We're running the grocery out of the back brewery, and in the front restaurant and bar, that's where we're doing all the food to go. If somebody wants to go place a grocery order, you can place your order, and then as soon as that's done, you can pull up into the back brewery, give us your order number, and we'll bag it right there for you. So realistically, we can have it between however long it takes you to get in your car and hop to Inge and us bag it, and you're on your way.
Right. Thank you.
So essentially you could order food and groceries at the same time.
Correct.
And do you have modified hours for either of those or for both? Are they open the same amount of hours?
They're both the same hours. We are closed on Monday, and Tuesday through Sunday, we're open 3 p.m. to 8 p.m.
And Saturday, Sunday?
3 to 8.
3 to 8 also. Okay, great.
And John, by making these changes, how much of your staff were you able to bring back on?
About 90%.
Wow. I know this is not the Q&A portion, but this is great. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Thank you so much, John. So Ron, if you wouldn't mind sharing your story next, and because Shapes Fitness for Women is a relatively new business to Dublin, if you could also let folks watching this webinar know a little bit about Shapes Fitness for Women, and then what you've been able to do pivoting online to keep engaged with your customers and keep them motivated and healthy and happy.
Absolutely, Suzanne. Thank you. So I'm Ron Kodl. I am a co-owner and a president for Shapes Fitness for Women. And we're, as Suzanne had said, we're relatively new. We just opened up last fall and have really just started creating an impression on the Dublin community and building out our Shapes community. We are a health club and wellness community. The inspiration behind Shapes was really, it started with our family and our kids having health issues a few years ago, and us stepping back and really looking at everything we've had to do to change our lifestyle to help them build up their immune systems and set themselves up for a healthy life. And we've been super excited about getting things off the ground, assembled an amazing team of fitness, nutrition, wellness professionals in a safe and judgment-free community is the way we like to look at it, really focused on women who are truly, in our belief, and this is, my wife is the other co-owner, the heartbeat of the home and the central nervous system of the community is the way we really think about it. And you know, our vision is to be able to create an environment and a community that those women can thrive in. And with that, when it comes to fitness, right, it tends to be either pleasure or pain, and a lot of people look at it like a pain. We try to keep that fun and light to make sure that it isn't a pain that you can't overcome. So when this whole situation hit, for us, we were at a loss. And like John, most of our staff, we had to let go pretty quickly. We have about 34 employees in total. Most of those are part-time instructors and trainers. And a handful of full-time staff. Even there, we really had to cut back. It felt like we kind of had to just stop in our tracks completely. How do you take a in-person services business and move that into a virtual world? Was there anything that we could do? And really, the brains of the team coming together, we came up with. Really just anchoring to our North Star, which is our community, and how do we support others on their wellness journey. And that led us down a bunch of different paths. We are trying virtual classes, things like mindfulness and meditation. We've run a laughter lounge online a couple of times, which tends to be a lot of fun, and some laughter yoga to go along with that. We've continued to do some of our fitness classes online, Zumba, UJam, yoga, have had great followings with that and great turnout. Some additional webinars, things like just habit change. How do you, in this stay at home world, how do you really implement some different habits? So the kitchen can be your friend instead of your enemy. Other items like just maintaining a balanced body. So a lot that's really been focused on healthy living. And I think some of our big challenges we got going was really just figuring out how do we leverage technology to our advantage. And that's been a challenge, right? Zoom has been amazing as we're experiencing now. We've leveraged Facebook Live. We implemented a scheduling platform, but it's all been sort of piecemeal, and it's been a little challenging for some of the team to get accustomed to, as well as not necessarily super easy for a lot of our members or followers to be able to jump on to things. And even the technology with everybody working from home, Wi-Fi, right? Everything seems to be a little overwhelmed in that sense. But we're kind of learning as we go through it. The online social communities have been huge for us. We've more than tripled our following on Facebook and doubled our following on Instagram in the last month, 5 weeks? And believe that could really be, again, a place for us to expand what we're all about and use that as a platform to be able to help others on their journey. This has also inspired us to dig into some other areas as we look forward. I think this virtual aspects around healthy living aren't going away anytime soon. And in fact, once we kind of get back to business as usual and whatever that new normal looks like, there will likely always be a place for some of the virtual components. And so, looking at really instantiating those platforms for the long term to offer virtual classes, on-demand classes, virtual coaching. It would be great for our personal trainers to be able to do a portion of their one-on-one personal training sessions from the comfort of their own home well into the future, not having to be in a physical facility to be able to do that. And I think, some of our biggest successes so far through all of this is that our team has really come together. Everyone's been really passionate about wanting to help others. That is what their careers are about. And it's been amazing to be a part of that energy, and the growth of our online community as well, and just being able to expand our reach has been something that we probably wouldn't have ever encountered had the situation not actually come up. Some quick tips maybe to take away from all of this. I do think this situation, right, is a bit of a wake-up call to get back to the basics of nutrition, stress reduction, exercise, focusing on relationships. We've started talking about as a family, right, and as a business, that this is the time to really focus on connection and not transaction. It's hard to try and maintain a business when there isn't a revenue stream and there's still expenses that are sitting out there. But we've got to believe that, we do the right thing now, and that will come in the future. And that's really been where our focus has been. Look forward to getting back to being able to open our doors and see our members again and invite new members in.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ron. Next, we'd like to hear from Nikki Pham. She's an owner of Boba Bliss in Dublin. And Nikki, if you don't mind letting folks know more about Boba Bliss and what you as a business and a family did right when the shelter-in-place orders were originally issued in Alameda County, and how you've transitioned now.
Yeah, thanks everyone for the opportunity. So some of you might not have known, but Boba Bliss is a family-owned business, and I'm the oldest sister. And I love boba the most in the house. So that's how I became the lead for this business. So just like John and Ron described, when this happened, all of us just feel really sad. Honestly, I don't remember that day. I actually knew that was the last day that I saw most of the employee until the next time we see them again, because we didn't expect for that. So how we transitioned that, so our business usually is very crowded most of the time, and on the weekends, if some people have been there, there's always a line of people. So when it happened, we said that I have to do only to go and taking care of things very carefully in the safest way possible. So luckily, it's just drinks and it not dining in restaurants. People come in, grab the drinks and go. But a weekend, then we closed out the restaurant for 3 weeks because I decided, let's just close out, because if one business close, another will start closing, just all in together, make an example so we can flatten down the curve. Because the sooner the curve flatten, all of us can come back together sooner. So that was the whole point of us, get all the courage, a whole family sit down, talk, we was like, let's do it. And after 1 weekend, we all get very itchy, we get bored. We like, we want to do something. So what got it started back on the road slowly was I thought about all the hospital medical staff people that every time after shift, they came in and get a boba tea drinks. So I thought maybe something we could do for hospital employees, some ER shift, from people ICU department. So we didn't open for the public, but the whole family are there. Employees just take the time off, and we were there to make the drinks, to donate and deliver to a lot. I think we had a lot of Kaiser all over the bay, and then we had other and then rumors get out and other people heard of us. So that's how all the hospitals start reaching out to us, and they wanted donation. And during the 2 days that we did donation, we feel like, oh, people really miss boba tea. What if we just started doing this for a regular customer only? So honestly, it was very hard work for the first 2-3 weeks. When we started again, we did delivery. We did not even open the door. So we delivered to house it, contactless, everything, contactless payment. We don't even see the customer. You open your door, boba's in front of your house. Pretty much, it's just like DoorDash and Uber Eats, but we cannot leverage that platform due to the cost. So we did it all in-house. After 2-3 weeks, I don't know why, but every single weekend we did delivery, it was raining hard. So 10 hours on the road, 3 sisters driving, it's like, this is not sustainable. So, but customer has so much support for us. So then, just like other business partner here, we just open up website, order online. I went home, I just stay up that night, like, I have to make it work. We have to find a way, because now that the COVID gonna go on for several months, and people just want something. Cause a lot of people say that you really make the happiness to our weekend. You make us feel like somewhat normal again. So that was the courage for us to open up the online order system. And every week we open only 3 days, and then people come in, order, and then at the end of the day or at the beginning of the shift, we will make a batch of boba or 2, like the beginning or the end, and we donate it to each hospital. So that's still going right now. And I guess the last thing was about the tip for this is that I feel like being patient during this time, don't panic, because I myself would panic, because I feel like I have to get it right. I have to do it right. What if people wait? And then, the order online system, like John mentioned, it sounds easy. It looks easy enough at the beginning. But once it hits the ground, technical issues, system have bugs, people have to wait longer. So all of that, I feel like communication is the key for us, either to our customer, to our team, and also to our employee. And right now it's working out for us. And I'm looking to reviewing the plan, evaluate how the safety goes, and then slowly bring him back employees. Yeah.
And Nikki, I understand when you actually did open the online ordering platform to customers, you were overwhelmed that day with orders.
Yeah, it was overwhelmed. Like we opened at 11:30, but we came in with like 100 order. So that pretty much like the long ticket. Oh my God, we all freak out. We say, oh, so people do miss boba, and so we just have to shut the system for 3 hours. We catch up everything, we open again, and I mean, we look at it as a good sign, right? Like that's the good problem to have. And then that night, we have to work so hard on it to say it's a good problem to have, but it's not the best practice. So we just have to improve on it night, every week we open work, we went home, we have family meeting. You know how family work together, and fights go on, and then happiness at the end, and then whatever we could do for the customer, we did. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. So the final panelist that we're going to hear from this afternoon is Patricia Cornet with Vagaro. Vagaro is a software company that is headquartered in Dublin. And so Patricia, would love to hear from you about both how Vagaro as a company has had to rise to the challenges faced by COVID-19 and how you've helped your clients do the same thing. So Patricia, can you tell us your story?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for having me. I'm the VP of Marketing here in Vagaro, headquartered in Dublin. And yes, our main clients are wellness professionals, and that will be salon, spa, and fitness business owners. And as you can imagine, those professions really cannot implement social distancing. There's a very tactile element to being a hairstylist or massage therapist. So we obviously were shocked alongside with our main customer base, trying to figure out how can we help our businesses survive when it's literally impossible for them to be in contact with their clients, right? So I've prepared a few slides to kind of walk you through how we solved that problem. And it was actually a phased approach to solving it. So bear with me while I share my screen. Just give me a minute. I hope I don't bore you too much with this slideshow, but here we go. 1 second. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
Yes.
So you see an empty chair. That's an empty salon chair, and that's literally what you see across the country. No matter whether you look at a hair salon in New York City, hair salon in Kansas, it doesn't really matter. They're all empty at this point. And this is happening across the country, across all of the gyms and makeup studios and nail artist studios that we service around the United States, as well as Australia, United Kingdom, Canada. We have the same problem across our entire customer base. So what we do is we actually are a business management platform, a scheduling platform, and an online marketplace, meaning that if you're a consumer, you can search on vagaro.com for a business in your zip code and book a hair appointment online, book a massage session online. And then you walk into the business, a couple of days later, and you have your service, right? So as you can imagine now, what do we do when our businesses cannot physically keep their doors open? Okay, so let's go to that. How can we solve that? There are two ways that we thought of that businesses could continue staying alive and keeping business running. And one of them was, okay, let's help them sell online. So we have a software module that basically allows you to sell products, gift certificates, packages of services for your later use online. So we decided we were going to give that away for free, right? And alongside with that, we decided that we were going to give all our email and text marketing tools away for free. that was the first thing that we came up with. And the reason why that was is because most of our salons and fitness businesses have some sort of e-commerce built in their business model, but we felt that that was actually really not enough. And we started investigating, okay, so what else can businesses do when their brick and mortar store is closed? And we thought, perfect, live stream, Zoom, let's do that. And so we started really literally brainstorming this from scratch, developing the feature, marketing the feature, and meanwhile it's gone live. So that allows people to not just sell products online, but also to live stream one-on-one consultations and yoga classes, Pilates classes, personal training sessions, you name it. Finally, our CEO decided that he was going to lower the subscription base so that we were affordable and folks could continue running their business with our software. Now, part two of the plan consisted in teaching our businesses, how do we actually use these new tools? How do we sell products online? How do we live stream classes? And we're very, very busy right now producing an amazing amount of blog posts, webinars, and so forth to give our customers the knowledge they need to put the tools to the best possible use. And this has worked out really, really well, despite us facing significant implementation challenges. Here you see part of our team in this slide, and I'm summarizing on this slide what our main problems were when implementing our plan, namely no time for downtime. So how do we design, implement, and promote something in record time? And we're talking several weeks to actually push all these new features out. And to add to that problem, we had never worked remotely as a team. So we all literally went mad trying to coordinate this effort. And the main thing I really try to inspire our team to do is there is no do or do not. There is no try, going with Yoda. Our businesses need us now, not tomorrow, not the next day. They need us now. So we do need to deliver it. So we all went full steam ahead, working 16-hour days to make that happen. And I feel like the added challenge in our particular case was that we are particularly strong in paid advertising. So we use Facebook, we use Google at a large scale to advertise our services, our software. And it felt like a very frivolous way of going about advertising our business in this time of need to pump out ads. So we said, no, we're going to scrap paid advertising. We're going to do content marketing. We're going to be useful to our audience and teach them how to survive, right? So the result of all of this was an enormous inflow of positive customer feedback, of thank you messages. And I am showing a few here on this slide. It really resonated with our community that we weren't talking about us primarily. We were talking about them, their plight, their need, their fight for survival. I mean, let's face it, this has been going on for a very long time. And the only way that these businesses have to survive is to either sell something online or do live streaming classes. And this morning I went into our system and I said, okay, how many people are actually using this? And we had like 30,000 live stream classes that have been already subscribed to, and 800 businesses out of our customer base are already using live streaming one-on-one consultations and classes on a regular basis, which, considering this feature doesn't exist 6 weeks ago, I think is a fantastic success for us. And I'd say that from that, what we have learned is a few simple lessons. We have focused on what matters. What matters to our businesses in this case was to survive, right? And so we really focused on developing the features that enabled them to survive. And we did that with zero spend, really, because what we did was mainly focus on software development. So I'd say that any business right now that is looking at how to pivot should do that by focusing only on the things that matter and executing those extremely well. So for all of us who have been in a startup mode at some point in our lives, you got to go back to that. You got to go back to the place where you started. And ask yourself, how can I move mountains without the resources, the staff, the budget, the monies that you need, right? So if you tap back into that time of building up your business and you strive for excellence every single minute of your day, I have no doubt that all of us will find a way to pivot and really come out stronger out of this crisis. And I also want to say that means that we need to dare to experiment. And, we are encouraging our businesses to try a virtual model alongside a, in-store business model. But that's just one way of experimenting. There are a million other ways of experimenting, learning from the results, iterating, and quickly correcting your course of action. That's the only way to build a new business model in a time of uncertainty, right? And again, going back to where to spend funds when you only want to do what truly matters, I'd say that stay away from paid media as much as possible and focus on social, on developing a blog if you have one, on using email marketing and text marketing to stay connected to customers. We feel that has personally given us a very low cost, efficient way of staying relevant, staying useful in this time of crisis. And there is no need to spend large sums of money when doing content marketing. It's more about being in tune with the needs of your audience, of your customer base. If you're successful, you can attract customers even in these difficult times by creating valuable content and experiences that help them in their own lives, right? And I'm gonna pause there for a second and really thank everyone for listening to our experience, because I think what it shows is that you can achieve a lot by moving aggressively in a very short period of time. I think the worst thing to do is to just sit and be paralyzed. Quickly experimenting and pivoting gives you learnings for future use, because let's face it, we're in the middle of the crisis, so it's going to evolve. Everything will evolve to new business models gradually, and as we do that, we do need to adapt to each phase of the crisis. Right now, what we're seeing is a reopening concern. So everyone's pivoting from how do we survive the crisis to how do we reopen business, right? So what was probably valid in the last couple of weeks is not going to be valid in the next month or two. So again, we'll have to reinvent here at Vagaro what we do one more time. And I foresee that being the case for the next 12 to 18 months, at least until a vaccine comes out. And so being resilient, being creative, and pivoting repeatedly, not just once, I think will be crucial.
It is great. Thank you so much, Patricia.
No worries.
For our attendees who are listening to this webinar, if you do have any questions for the city, the Chamber of Commerce, or the panelists, if you want to use the Q&A feature in the webinar, please go ahead and type your questions in now. We actually do already have a few questions, but before I get to those questions, just wanted to check in with Mayor Haubert and Chamber CEO Inge Houston. Do either of you have any questions that you would like to ask the panelists?
I'd just like to say that I'm so impressed by the stories that I've heard. I can't wait to get into questions and answers, because I always like to hear what the community has to say. I will say though, and I know that we all look to when we may perhaps open again, but I want to say, John, I can't wait till the day we can open again and have concerts or bands play rather at Inc. 82. And I'm going to do everything I can to say, as soon as we're allowed, we're going to try to get that done, as that's going to be great. I will say, Ron, I'm sorry, I can't go to visit Shapes, but I hear it's quite successful. And Boba Bliss, all of my daughters love it. And Vagaro, boy, I remember the time we did our visit in your corporate headquarters there, just a very impressive team. So a great group of entrepreneurs and business people on with us with great products. It seems like some of us have had to completely pivot, offering groceries instead of prepared meals, John, offering a different delivery model where we're doing course classes online in the case of Shapes, and then taking orders electronically over the internet, Boba Bliss, and then Vagaro, really kind of revamping everything, but all of us showing true grit and resilience in doing the COVID pivot. Congratulations and great job. Let's hear from the community questions that they have. Suzanne?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. So there are a couple questions in the Q&A, and a couple of the questions are similar. One is both to Ron and Patricia about how do you monetize online classes. So Ron, if you could answer the question first for your business, and then Patricia, if you want to talk about how your clients, what you've been suggesting to them in terms of if they're trying to monetize those classes or one-on-one sessions online. Ron?
Yeah, thanks, Suzanne. So that's a great question, and one that we're still grappling with. I think our near-term perspective is we don't monetize them. Again, it is about supporting our members and continuing to try and increase our social engagement, as Patricia had alluded to as well. Longer term, that's where, I think there's sort of the baseline of how do we at least recoup our investment in terms of what the platforms cost to maintain, and figuring out, sort of a model there around what type of virtual membership we would anticipate, and at least keep us at a break-even point. And I think the longer or further out we get from the specific situation, I think there will be opportunities to continue to build on that virtual platform and that virtual membership, and potentially actually turn it into a more bona fide revenue stream. For us now, I think, again, it really is anchoring to, we want our members to see the faces that they've known to, love in person, and make that easily accessible to them.
Thank you, Ron. Patricia?
Yeah, so I think I'd break that question down into two parts. So if you want to stay connected to your existing customer base, I'd be with Ron on that one. You don't necessarily want to monetize that, particularly not in a time of crisis where people are struggling financially. But what you can do is try to think about it differently. So there is no reason why you would only reach out locally to your existing client base to offer live streams of online classes and online consultations. You could potentially do that by reaching a worldwide audience, so long as you have a marketplace like ours, for instance, to advertise your classes in. And by that, I'm meaning that you could look at your virtual business as an added revenue stream with a completely different, possibly global audience, right? In that sense, there is no reason why you wouldn't want to monetize that, because those are new customers you're bringing in. That, first of all. Secondly, there's another way of monetizing live streams and video conferencing, and that is by offering them as a complementary service to product sales. So let's say, for instance, you sell a product and then you give a live stream on how to use that product. And the product, evidently, you'll sell at a certain cost, and the live stream will be sort of like a interactive manual on how to use that product. So you can do that with massage kits, you can do that with root treatment kits, and etc. Right? So there's ways of packaging products and live streams together, and that way generate an additional revenue stream.
Great, thank you. Patricia, we actually have another question for you. Mm-hmm. Would an art studio business be a possible client for the Vagaro software?
Yes, if you have a way of booking your classes online. And my hobby, interestingly enough, is actually painting, oil painting and ink painting. So drawing from my experience, it is very possible to book classes, get paid online, book those art classes online, send out confirmation reminders, confirmation appointment confirmations and reminders before the class, so that your art students cannot miss any of your lessons. And then finally, obviously, you would be able to manage any kind of marketing to those folks through a booking and business management platform as like ours, for instance, by sending email marketing to promote your courses. So I would always recommend not just managing your art lessons, but also marketing and promoting your product, locally and internationally. So absolutely, that will be a good use case.
Great. Ron, we have another question for you. Someone is asking, how did you prepare your instructors for them to be providing the online training or online classes?
Well, there's two pieces to that. And one is the more truthful of the two pieces, which is, like many of us are experiencing right now, I'm learning to be a teacher on the fly. It's been trial and error with some of our instructors in terms of how to set up and do the virtual classes. We're thankful that we have a couple of members of our staff who are very tech savvy. And so, we did some practice runs and a little just role modeling to make sure that we had it down. And then really it was just playing with it, right? And we've had our hiccups. We've had sessions cut short, sessions interrupted, right? And had to restart. And when you're using Facebook for something like that, it can be hard for people to get re-engaged. But we've sort of started to build out our tips and tricks over time and have gotten better at it. And to what Patricia was saying, right? I mean, having good platforms makes a big difference. And when you have platforms that you can rely on, it gives you peace of mind. And that's what we've been trying different tools and are starting to anchor to what's really working well for us.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you, Ron. And in terms of when you first started offering the group classes, for example, did you have an existing email list for your membership, or how did you get the word out to your members about the online classes?
Yeah, so we have, through our guest registry, we have our email contact list. That was our first step of letting them know what was going on with us and where they could find us online. And then really just started setting up and scheduling live events on Facebook itself, and then promoting that on the Instagram platform too, and making sure that, there was some crossover there and trying to drive folks back through Facebook, whether that was a Facebook Live event or Zoom, or if we were using Twitch, which some instructors were more familiar with, that Facebook was sort of our center place to be able to connect all the dots on those pieces and how we promoted it.
Great, thank you. Nikki, a similar question. When you did reopen Boba Bliss, how did you reach out to your existing customers who were looking forward to having a boba tea drink?
Good questions, because I don't think we actually reached out to them personally or emails, but the platform that has been working very well for us is Instagram. And Google out hours. We make sure we stay updated on all the social media, like Facebook, especially when it comes to foods and drinks. Most services, people go on Yelp a lot. So we update on Yelp, social media, which is Instagram, Facebook, Google. I think that's that. And update our website. And I think those tools right now, I feel like people have been engaged more. Like Ron said that he could triple the amount of people follow the account. I assume that now people at home more, work remote more, and stay online more. So that also encouraged the higher activity rates. So yeah.
Great, thank you so much, Nikki.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone on the panel, maybe this is for Patricia, but does anyone have any recommendations for businesses such as a hair salon or a house painting business that do provide in-person services, what they could be doing now to stay connected to their customers?
All right. So first of all, there's no need to sell them something every time you connect. So I think that's fundamental. What we have found, and you know, I think is valid across industries, is that sometimes people just want to know that you're there for them. So having periodically an outreach, whether that is via the phone, email, text marketing, whatever your favorite channels are, make it as personal as possible. And I'll give you an example, which comes from my own family. My 86-year-old mother calls me the other day and says, guess what? My hairdresser called me. How nice is that? And she was in tears thinking, you know, someone actually spent time thinking about her, you know, self-isolating and possibly being concerned and being scared. So having that empathy, having that human connection is going to be more important when your business reopens than any attempt to monetize services. So try to find a balance between empathy and you know, the need to generate revenue, because the long-term effect of just reaching out will be, I think, crucial to generate that goodwill that you want to build. That brand needs to survive beyond COVID-19, right?
Great, thank you. So John, Ron, and Nikki, when you were creating content for your online outreach and presence, did you do that in-house? Do you use a professional consultant to help you with that digital content? Can anyone share their experiences with that?
Mine, I just do all on my phone. I'll be at work, take pictures, send notices out. Yeah, everything we just do all in-house.
Great.
Yeah, it's similar. We did a very quick team gather, and we have a handful of team members set up as editors for our online accounts, and they're just jumping in and, you know, doing the videos or live sessions as we go.
Same. So I told them I wish I could have a very nice app like Starbucks or Fuse Coffee, but we can't afford it yet. At this point, so everything done in-house. As long as my other sister guarantee on the quality we provide on the drinks during this time, she make me guarantee that the system will work well. So everything done in-house. Picture, lucky we have some friends happy to help John with Ron if needed for foods and drinks. So I just call friends very close by, come with the photographer, and just take some picture, and we just did it.
Great, fabulous. Well, it's been wonderful hearing about each of your stories. We're getting close to the 4 o'clock hour, so I actually just wanted to check back in with each of the panelists and see if you had any kind of final thoughts or advice for the other businesses that are listening today. So Nikki, do you want to start us off?
Sure. Yeah, I think I would piggyback to what Patricia say. Every time you reach out to customer, not necessarily about selling something, because I think how we started back was we really missed our customer, because some of the, especially older couples, that they so cute. You wouldn't think that at 50, 60, 70, they just walk together to the store every weekend to get a cup of boba tea. So we really thought of them. We want to drop something up at their house, a delivery. So things like that, it always goes a long way. And especially during this time, just such a hard time, everyone feel a little bit isolated from family member. So those connections, it just warm people's hearts. And then when we delivered to the nurses and doctor, we were very worried, because we was like, what if the nurses have something allergy? What if something they drink? So we really talk carefully on what we make for them, but turn out they thought they just so happy. So I think during this time, it's a great opportunity for any business owner to build that kind of relationship. And also I take advantage of this time to relax so much more. So on that's the personal note. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Nikki. John, how about you? Any final thoughts?
I would just say stay positive. Keep doing your social media thing. The customers are what pretty much keeps you in business. Lately, we've been doing a lot of giveaways like essential workers, gift cards. Pretty much help the community. They're the ones that are going to keep you open when this thing does end.
Great. Thank you, John. Ron.
Yeah, and to follow on to Nikki and John, right, is just, keep focusing on the human connection and, keep putting positive vibes out into the universe. That will come back when everybody can be back in person again. One thing I failed to mention earlier is we've also been doing some surveys with our members and asking them, what could we be doing now that would really support you? And starting to tee that up is, what is that going to look like when the doors open again? And what are your expectations around that, so we can prepare for it? And trying not to overwhelm them with communication, but keep that dialogue open and going, and let them know that we're there for them.
Great, thank you, Ron. And then Patricia, I know you actually kind of already did share a couple other pieces of advice. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yes, just relax about being perfect. And I have to tell myself that every time I go out there and communicate with my customer base. It's surprising how forgiving people are. When they see that you're struggling, working from home, trying to be helpful, there is a tremendous empathy for our common struggles. So if, your Zoom live stream doesn't come out just the way you want it, or your email maybe gets stuck in the middle of the send process, I think I would forgive myself for that. You know what I mean? It's important to understand that the standards, aren't as high as they typically are, because we all understand that this is an exceptional situation, and people appreciate your sheer willingness to reach out and be useful and be helpful. So I would just encourage all our, business owners that are listening, just overcome any hurdle you might feel internally about trying new things out. This is the time to actually do it, and no one will punish you if the result isn't perfect.
Great, thank you so much. Mayor Haubert, I'd like to turn it back over to you. Thank you so much.
Well, it's a great time to wrap up. And Suzanne and Hazel, I want to thank you for putting this on and doing a great job with inviting great panelists and organizing our activities here today. I want to thank Inge from the Dublin Chamber of Commerce for giving us new news and highlights, and for participating in today's panel. And I want to thank the panelists, John, Ron, Nikki, Patricia. Your stories are inspiring to us. They're inspiring to others. We are so proud of our small business community and doing a great job. We know that you're going to come out of this stronger, and we're so excited to see you wrestle with the COVID pivot and turn out in a positive way as you've been able to maintain and thrive in this pandemic. We are in week 7. I encourage everybody to support our local businesses, to follow the rules of stay home as much as possible, wear your mask when you go outside, and check for new news. We're always releasing new news from public health on, in fact, recently relaxed new rules. And so always comply with the rules of the day, and let's do our job to flatten the curve and then get back to the new normal, whatever that looks like. Thanks again for coming to today's Town Hall Business Community Meeting from our Economic Development team here in the City of Dublin. Thank you, and have a great rest of the day.